Hi, Apayemi Olasokami again. In this session, we are going to be looking at data repositories. So, what are data repositories? Data repositories are basically those locations where we store data, we organize them, and we also maintain the data. Like I said before, we cannot do anything in data as a data project if there is no data. And somebody said that data is the oil of the 21st century. So if data is this important, then we will have to store them, we will have to organize them, and also put them in a place where they can be maintained. There is what you call the data life cycle. So data life cycle basically means the collection of data, the storage of data, and then the destruction of that data. So when we collect data and we store it, a particular time will come that we might think that that data is not going to be useful again, then we can discard the data. So and this is called data life cycle. But we see that what is central to all of this is the fact that we need to store data in a very appropriate place. So, and that is data repository. So let's look at the different types we have and their peculiarities. So the common data repositories are what we call flat files, databases, data warehouse, and data lake. There are several other types, but considering the fact that this course is for beginners, I'm only focusing on these four categories. And believe me, even these four categories are big because there are only few institutions that can exhaust all these categories. So the question is, as an organization, which of these data repositories should we go for? And the answers can only be given after considering the following factors. One, what type of data are we generating? So if the type of data we are generating are just structured data, then we can use basic databases and flat files. But if we are generating a lot of unstructured data or semi-structured data, and we also want to analyze this data, then we will have to go for some other things. Or let me say some other types of data storage, such as data lake and non-structured databases. Then the type of analysis. So if we want to be doing real-time analysis, then we have to go for some type of data storage, such as data lake and data warehouse. Then the budget of the company. So, for example, flat files such as spreadsheet like Excel and Google Sheet, they are very cheap. So any company can afford them. In fact, an individual can afford them. But maintaining a database can be a little bit expensive. Whereas if you want to maintain a data warehouse or a data lake, that is even more expensive. And it is only big companies that can actually afford to maintain some of those levels of data storage. Size of the data we are generating. So if you are generating data in form of big data, like you all know now, the meaning of big data. If we are generating data in the realm of big data, then we cannot use Excel or Google Sheets to store our data. And even an average database may not even be enough. So we may have to go into data warehouses and data lakes. And there is even what we call big data store. So which is also designed for big data, extremely large ones. and then the type of expertise available. So if you are going to be maintaining a database, then you know that you need someone that is going to be capable of handling that database. And then for storage like data warehouses and data lakes, then you need engineers to handle all those ones. So these are factors that you need to consider before you choose the kind of data repositories you are going to be using. But basically, in all honesty, majority of small and intermediate organizations are going to be storing their data in flat files and in databases. In our second course on our platform, Analyzing Data with Excel, we are going to be teaching our learners how to build an Excel database. I can build a database on Excel or Google Sheet as long as data is not of high volume and is not too complex. So, what are the benefits of having a data repository in an organization? I believe that with everything I have said, we can say something now, but let's look at it in a more detailed view. So, maintaining a central repository is key to effective long-term data usage in an organization. And this is very, very important because for an average organization, you are going to be having data coming in from different sources. So you have data of employee, data of the customers, transaction data. If it is like a factory, there are going to be production data and all sort of different categories of data which are generated in the organization. So if you do not have a central repository, all of this data will just be lying fallow in different areas. So if somebody says, okay, let's analyze the data of the company, and I want to ask a particular question from the data, which will require me to combine data from the HR with the data from the customer care service, then I will have to be working around and be taking data from different places. And what that does is that it affects the integrity of the data. So if you have to be copying and pasting from 20, 30, 40 different Excel spreadsheets, you know, the one way or the other, one is going to do one mistake or the other, that is going to impact the accuracy of the analysis. So it's very, very important. And that is why maintaining a most effective database or data repository is central for an organization to do well with the usage of data. So in the previous session, we spoke about how you have to get a very good infrastructure that will connect data for your organization. That is where to start from. And then the next step is to get a data repository where, having collected all these data, we will be able to store them in this repository for effective maintenance and storage. So we talk about data security and integrity. I think I've explained that. Then data accessibility. I have also spoken about that because if you have a data in the central location, you just go there and look at what you need and you get it out and continue your project. And like just moving around, you went to a particular department yesterday, you got all the data that you thought you needed, and a week after, when you are almost done with your project, somebody called you that there was some particular data that was eating somewhere that they didn't know it was there. It was because one guy who was on leave has just come back and he was the one that knew where the data was stored. And then they have to send data to you. You have to start all over again by cleaning it and start adjusting your analysis and all. So, it enhances accessibility because when everything is kept in one place, you can always go there, get what you want, and move on. And it enhances better decision making because always remember, garbage in, garbage out. If you don't use appropriate data, in terms of quality and integrity, believe me, your analysis is going to be impacted, and it's going to be very difficult to get an accurate result. So let's move to the next one. So we are going to be looking at different data repository and look at them in short detail. Each of these repository is a whole world of its own, and people have masters and co in order to be able to get the best out of them. So let's look at databases. Databases is like the most popular form of data repository, and I believe that every one of us here would have had the word database at one point or the other. So it can be classified into two groups. We have what is called the relational database and what we call the non-relational database. It's simple. Relational database is for storing structured data, and every one of us know what structured data is by now. So by non-relational database, we also call them NoSQL. They are designed for unstructured, structured, and semi-structured data. So if you have a lot of unstructured data and semi-structured data in your organization, you can comfortably keep them in NoSQL database. So in the word relational, in relational database, means that we can design a relationship between the tables. So when you put a table inside a relational database, we can design a relationship among those tables. So I'm going to be explaining this in a more intuitive detail in one of our walkthroughs. So I won't do much here because you're not able to understand it. But by the time I'm doing it in a walkthrough, you will see it. So, and a good example of relational database management system is MySQL, Microsoft SQL, and Oracle database. So someone might be asking, what is the difference between a database and RDBMS? So RDBMS is also called Relational Database Management System. They are just those softwares that we use to handle our databases, as simple as that. So NoSQL, they store data in form of files such as JSON file and XML files. So we are still going to talk about all this later. So it can handle a large volume of data, even better than relational databases, and it is more complex and would require higher level of expertise. So NoSQL is usually handled by data engineers, and a popular example of a NoSQL database is MongoDB. Now, it is also important for us to know that databases can be local or cloud-based. So when we have our database inside a particular computer or a particular software in our organization, then we say it's a local database. However, if you host our database inside a cloud, then we see that it is a cloud-based database. So we are also going to be talking about what cloud means in one of the sessions in this course. So let's look at data warehouse. It is a central repository for storing large volumes of structured data. So data are stored using the ETL process. So every one of us know what ETL process is now. So I'm going to go into that today. And data are stored in a categorical manner. So let me explain all of this. A data warehouse is just a combination of several databases. So For big institutions, what they do is that they design a particular database for a particular type of data. So you can say, okay, this database is for employee. This other database is for transaction. This particular database is for the operations in the factory. And they can also design another one for all of their sales. So when they put all of these databases together in one place, we call it a data warehouse. Based on that explanation, you can see that this is a system that can handle a whole lot of data. And the advantage of this is that when you want to do a particular project, you just go to the particular database inside the warehouse that is useful for your project. But like I said before, it is expensive to maintain and it requires some expertise. So this kind of data repository is for large organizations. Then let's talk about data lake. It is a central repository for storing large volumes of data in their raw forms, whether structured, unstructured, or semi-structured. So a data lake, I call it a place where data is dumped. So they just dump the data there, and that is why it is used by large organizations. So a platform like Twitter, Facebook, where do you think they are storing their data? Is data lake. Because as the data is being generated, it's just being dumped in that place, whether it is structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. Then data professionals can then come here to extract the data that they need. So ETL process, data pipeline, everything will be done via this particular data source. So, like I said, it is where big data are stored efficiently. Then let us talk about flat files, which every one of us as a data professional will always encounter. You cannot say you are going to be a data professional without encountering flat files. And the ones you are going to be encountering majorly are the spreadsheets, which are Excel and Google Sheets. So they are fundamental to data analysis process. They can be used for data storage, for data processing, and also for data transfer. Even though they are simple, but they are very powerful. In fact, you can do all your data analysis process on Excel. You can use it to collect your data. You can use it to clean the data. You can use it to store the data. You can use the same Excel workbook to analyze the data, and also you can build a small dashboard inside it to present the data. So they are very powerful. The only issue they have is that they cannot handle big data. And also, they cannot process complex data. But majority of the companies are small and they operate at the level of flat files, such that by the time you can handle your Excel very well, you can handle your Google Sheet very well, you are going to do well with a lot of small and intermediate size businesses. So, other examples of that include comma separated values, we call them CSV files, tab separated values, TSV, spreadsheet, space separated values, SSV, and co. Other include JSON file, XML file, and HTML files. In one of our walkthroughs, I will be working on each of these files and showing you how they appear in real life, and I will be importing them into Excel and also into Power BI and also into Python, and you can see how they operate. So it doesn't matter what the file is, by the time we carry it into our software, it's still going to become a data. So I think we have been able to cover a lot today. Well done. So in conclusion, we have been able to look at what data repositories are and their roles, the common types, and their benefits. Thank you.